I'm a little nervous today. I have a graphics card that I've been trying to purchase for a long time, right? I've been searching on all sorts of sites and I finally found one that was reasonably priced on Facebook Marketplace. He ended up calling the guy, he ended up flaking out on me, and now I got another guy that I'm supposed to meet somewhere in the town that I live. It's a little unnerving. We're gonna do it at a public place or whatever, but not only am I worried about the quality of the actual card, but you never know who you're dealing with when you just contact somebody through an ad. So I'm a little bit scared, but I'm sure everything's gonna be fine. If you don't see any videos after a week, I'm dead. Call the corner. Anyway, I'm joking. It's gonna be fine. But it's always kind of unnerving working with these third parties, right? We're reacting to eBay horror stories today. Not necessarily as ghetto as the whole meet and greet thing from Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever, but still, it should be interesting, and I thought it was at least relatable. It's going to be by MJV Animations, guys. Let's get into it.
I'm a college student, and my laptop recently broke. It was in the middle of the semester, so I was really in need of a new one.
For sure.
I searched on eBay and saw an ad for the exact laptop I was looking for.
There you go.
It was a miracle. It was the new HP Pavilion for an absurdly low asking price.
Oh no.
I was so excited I immediately bought it, as it was only listed a few hours ago, and I wanted to be sure to get it before anyone else could. Although the thought of it being a scam never even crossed my mind once when buying it.
What?
As I waited a while for the laptop to arrive, I'd constantly go back to the page and look at it with anticipation. I was excited. It felt like Christmas. Just over a week later, the laptop finally arrived.
Okay, they
A bit
actually
annoyed,
shipped
I
you
noticed
something.
that there wasn't much protection for the laptop in the box it came in.
Looked kind of
But
small.
luckily,
too.
it was fine, and it didn't have any visible damage. I opened the laptop and immediately saw a sticky note on the screen.
So it
It
is
was
a
a
laptop.
4-digit PIN.
Okay.
I was confused. Why would the
Oh,
seller not
no.
remove their account prior to sending the laptop?
Right.
It made no sense to give me the PIN to sign into their account.
For
Why wouldn't you just do a hard reset before shipping
$15.49?
it? Of
There's
course,
something up with
I
this,
ignored my
y'all.
suspicion and used the PIN to sign into the account. When typing in the PIN, I couldn't help but notice the profile picture to the Outlook account was solid black.
Right.
A bit eerie, but I continued to sign in anyway.
Alright.
There was nothing special at first. The
Okay.
background was a standard default image of a beach that Microsoft uses with its computers.
Alright.
I assumed all the
deal.
files and everything would be cleared, and most of them were.
Okay.
But I couldn't help but notice some files still remained on the laptop.
Okay.
What sensible person would leave their files for a stranger to see?
Somebody that wanted to target you.
Anyway, I was looking through the files. They all looked to be normal photos and videos.
Okay.
They were photos of woods and a river.
Uh-huh.
They didn't seem planned out though, almost as if the photos were accidents. They
Okay.
weren't even symmetrical, and some were just blurry and honestly terrible photos, almost as if they were purposely bad.
That is strange.
There was also a single picture of a room. It looked very simple, plain. It had beige walls, a bed, a large vent, and a light.
Uh-oh.
The light made the room look really strange.
I'm kind of getting the
But
creeps
just
here.
then, I came across the video. The
It's the
video was
music.
absolutely terrifying. It featured off-putting audio, and this weird combination of videos of this man in a very disturbing Mickey Mouse mask.
Yeah.
And it was cutting back and forth from him to some very disturbing clips that I couldn't make out.
Okay.
I could hear groans and some shuffling. Earth, Wind, and Fire's September was also playing in the background. After a rewatch, I was very uneasy.
Is this
The
evidence?
combination of all these things made for a very unsettling
Is
video.
there evidence on this laptop?
I instantly went back to the ad on eBay for some answers,
Right.
but it was gone.
Huh.
I couldn't remember the seller's name, but I do remember what town it was shipped from.
Okay.
It was a small town in Utah I'd never heard of. I looked it up to realize that that town didn't even exist. I was
Uh-huh.
confused. I thought maybe this was all just some sick prank pulled by the seller. But that seemed too far-fetched.
Right.
What
With a whole
person would go
laptop,
through
right?
the process of setting up an eBay ad, making this video, putting it on a nice computer, and selling it at such a low cost?
Right.
And even giving sign-in info of his account. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, there's something going on here.
There were no more files on the computer.
Okay.
And I tried searching for more things, any hint as to
Just
what the video
folders,
was.
but nothing.
But I found nothing.
Huh.
After messing around on the laptop for a bit, I decided to call it a night and head to bed.
Okay.
The next day,
There's definitely
I got up
something
at
going on,
around
yeah.
6:30 in the morning and went to school. When I got back home later that day, I went to my laptop and sat down,
Yeah.
hoping to unwind for the rest of the day.
There's a virus or something?
I opened my laptop, and that's when I saw it. It took me a second to notice, But the profile wasn't solid black anymore.
That's correct.
It was changed.
Right.
I sunk into my chair, feeling hot flashes run through me.
Mm-hmm.
I sat there for a good minute or two, analyzing and trying to make out what the picture was.
They had something on there that gave him access,
It was a close-up,
huh?
semi-blurry picture of a front door and its doorknob.
Okay.
I instantly wiped everything, and I frantically began deleting the photos and the video from the files.
Man, you better wipe that
I also
whole
removed
computer
the account from the laptop.
and put a
I thought
put a
about getting rid of the
firewall on
laptop
it.
altogether, but I needed it for school. I couldn't get rid of it. I also would need to do some work. I'm a musician, and I also make films with my good friend.
Okay.
I began to install all the software I use. After about an hour, I was all set. As I began, I completely lost track of time.
Mm-hmm.
I had been writing and recording for hours on that computer.
Right.
However, unavoidably at this point, that video came back to my mind.
Yeah.
Specifically just how disturbing that Mickey Mouse mask was.
Right.
And even the sounds from the video. That's when I saw something. My heart instantly dropped to my stomach. I noticed the light to my webcam was on. It had been on the entire time, and I had been too distracted to even notice. I sat there for a second in shock, frozen as I stared at the small light.
Mm-hmm.
I quickly regained my attention and slammed the screen down, shutting it.
Man.
That was it. I finally took the laptop, heading outside as quickly as I could. I opened it and spread it against the curb,
Why not
stomping
just
down
pawn
on
it, dude?
I broke it in two and proceeded to throw it into my trash bin.
Wow.
I was still absolutely terrified. How long was I being watched? Who was watching me? Was the guy even from Utah?
What were you doing?
Questions raced in my mind.
Like you weren't doing
and of course,
anything
I called
crazy.
the cops. I was on the phone with 911, and they said they'd send 2 cars over to check around. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think they cared.
No, I mean,
think they just sent them to calm me down.
Broke the laptop and
After a
everything,
5-minute
though.
search, they told me that I'd be fine, and that there are
was
just
pretty
creeps out there
drastic.
who are willing to do anything to scare people.
Pretty
And
drastic.
they left. But to be fair, there wasn't really anything they could do.
No, I mean, who?
I didn't sleep that night.
Right.
I kept my lights on, blinds closed, doors and windows locked, and I stayed up and watched TV.
This guy makes me crazy,
But
y'all.
while I was doing this, it hit me. That profile picture that was originally black and had changed to a picture of a door and its doorknob.
That's your
That
front
was
door.
my front door.
Yep.
I moved out 2 days later, and I bought a real laptop from Best Buy. To this day, that video is still ingrained into my mind, and it still disturbs me from time to time.
My boy could have sold
And
that
I also
laptop
wonder
for
how
so
whoever
cheap.
this was able to get a picture of my front door. One thing's for sure, though. I will never be using eBay again.
Y'all, that was crazy.
My wife and I had recently got
Coulda
married,
sold that
and we
thing,
moved into
bro.
our own place not too long ago. When we
Right.
moved in, we introduced ourselves to most of the neighbors.
Okay.
We live in an apartment complex that
Slash is
consists
kinda
of
funny,
2
huh?
buildings across from each other.
Z4?
The view from our bedroom looks
Weird sense of
directly at
style.
the other building, but hey, the place was cheap and in a good location, so we couldn't complain.
Alright.
We hit it off with one of our neighbors right away. His name was Jeff. He was a bit
Jeff,
older, probably
You alright with
mid-30s.
looking at that mustache, buddy?
Anyway, I go to the gym a lot, and I like to use headphones when I'm working out.
Okay.
Though my headphones recently broke, so I decided to start my
Oh,
search for
dang.
new ones on eBay.
How'd you crack
I found a
the
pair of
Beats in
new
half?
Beats by Dre wireless headphones for pretty cheap.
No.
Cheap enough to think you were getting a good deal,
Right.
but not enough to think you were getting scammed.
Okay. Fair
I
enough.
thought I struck gold, so I bought them. But of course,
my
upon
Beats,
arrival,
man.
I quickly noticed the
Really
headphones
do.
were fake. I started the process
For
of filing a
sure,
complaint with
like-
eBay, but deep down I knew it was no use. The weird thing was,
Why?
as fake as they were, the headphones
it's
actually
no
sounded
use?
really good. So I took them to my workout at the gym that was on the first floor of my building.
Yeah.
I was running on the treadmill, and they were doing really well. Just as I started thinking these counterfeits aren't that bad, the left ear cup started producing this crackling noise.
Okay.
I ignored it and kept running. Then, a loud bang came from both of the cups, and I nearly tripped on the machine, it was so
The
loud.
heck?
I stopped. Silence completely overtook the headphones.
Okay.
The silent crackling slowly returned, and this time with what seemed like whispers. I knocked on the plastic cups,
It's
hoping that'd
possessed.
fix them. It did.
You got the
But
devil
a few minutes
headphones,
later, the
bro.
crackling noise got loud again, reaching an unbearable pitch.
Take
I was
them
about
off.
to take the headphones off, the music started playing again. I didn't think twice about this event. I mean, I guess this is what I get for not seeing the signs of buying fake headphones, right?
They trying to get you a
Fast
little
forward
bit
to the
of
next day,
subliminal
and
messages
I asked
or
Jeff
whatever.
if he could come over and help me install some lights.
Okay.
He's an electrician, and I asked him to help me install a pair of those clapping lights. I guess I
Clapping
watched too many
lights.
movies, and I really wanted to be able to just clap for the light to come on. I found a good deal and bought a few, and Jeff was
I never
helping me
had one
install
of those,
them.
but I thought they were pretty
He
cool.
offered to do it for free, which was really nice. Anyway, since eBay hadn't done anything regarding my issue, I decided to keep the headphones.
Oh, you did?
The seller wouldn't give me a refund, and they sounded at least decent, so I sucked it up.
Perfect.
2 days later, I was relaxing on my balcony listening to Kanye's new album at the time, when just then, the same crackling noise started. At first it didn't bother me, but it got louder and louder.
It's the devil.
It finally got really loud, and then it stopped. Whispers came through the headphones again. I turned up the volume to the max to confirm that there were people whispering, and not just some static sound I was mistaking for whispers.
Some evil stuff, man.
But no. Sure enough, I could hear what sounded like deranged whispers. Though, what stood out to me most was the clear whisper of my wife's name. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't mind the first interference, but this one was about my wife. But I quickly wrote it off as some kind of radio interference, and just a coincidence that I could hear my wife's name. I decided to ask Jeff about it, since like I mentioned earlier, he was an electrician, and he might know something about it. I pulled out my phone and texted him, asking if he could answer a question for me. 2 hours later, and I was still sitting on my balcony without a response from Jeff. Finally, around 8 p.m., I saw Jeff walk out of his building. As soon as he got out, I yelled, asking him if he got my text. He replied saying, "Nah, dude, sorry, I left my phone at work. Why, what's up? Did those lights stop working?" I responded, telling him that the lights were fine, though what I said next seemed to set him off. I asked him how it would be possible to hear whispers through headphones, and if it might have been picking up a radio frequency somehow. Jeff just stopped in his tracks. He was looking up at me, but he wasn't moving or saying anything. After about a minute or so of silence, he responded, saying he didn't know, and smiled, but it was obviously forced. And then quickly went back into his apartment. I thought the whole encounter was strange, but I didn't think too much about it, and I was decently tired, so I just decided to go to sleep.
Wait, Jeff wasn't in the
around
picture
2 to 3 a.m., some kind of noise woke me up. I'm a light sleeper, and even little things get me, but this sounded pretty loud.
It's coming through the headphones?
I woke up enough to realize that the sound was coming from the headphones.
Right.
It was the same crackling that got louder and louder.
Yeah.
Finally, it went away, and silence took over. I turned the volume all the way up, trying to hear anything, but I still couldn't. Just then, a loud clap came from the headphones.
That's my phone.
The light in our bedroom turned on instantly. I was still a bit sleepy, so it took me a second to comprehend what was happening. The clap from the headphones must have activated the lights. That's when a thought came to me. I walked over to my window, and that's when I nearly screamed. The building across the street had all lights off, all but one. Jeff was standing in the window in his apartment. He was just looking straight at me. He was holding something that looked like a radio. He brought it to his mouth, and just as he did, the crackling came from the headphones again. Jeff must have somehow switched out my eBay package in front of my door with another package that carried fake headphones that had a speaker in them.
What?
I still don't know how he knew I had bought headphones, and why he would even do something like this. Although, the guy did always give me a weird vibe, despite his kind demeanor.
Well, I mean...
Needless to say, me and my wife moved out shortly after this experience. And I've never seen Jeff since.
That's so weird, dude. What was he trying to do? I honestly, for a moment there, I really thought it was something supernatural going on. But that is kind of creepy. Like, there was nothing malicious that actually happened. But somebody that you barely know just doing stuff like that to you, that's completely weird, right? That is bizarre. I think I'd have did the same thing, especially if you're not tied down to a place. Like if you live in an apartment, man, let's go. Let's get away from them crazy people. Hope y'all enjoyed this one, guys. MJV Animations, make sure to check them out, and a couple other reactions I did by him. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.